So right now, teachers all over the world are trying to find ways to engage students while teaching virtually or in a hybrid model where some students are home. A tool that I have found very helpful is called Jamboard. This tool allows students to collaborate well, and it also allows the teacher to get a window into students' work while they're doing it in a much more efficient way than if everybody was on their own Google Doc. Okay. Some advantages are that it's really good for collaboration, and there's a lot of good tools that students can use. There's a nice drawing tool. They also have a text box tool that is going to be helpful. They can put in little sticky notes and, write, a chemical change is da 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 da, and that pops on as a little note that they can then drag around on the screen. They can also insert images, and it's linked to Google search, so they can just type something in and put an image directly in. One of the big advantages of Jamboards is that you can see that while a class is going on, the teacher can click up here and scan through different groups. You can watch them moving things in real time, and you can quickly identify which groups are struggling, and you might need to go visit and give them some help in their breakout room. Disadvantages, though, is if you give each kid the same slide, or each group of kids, then they can easily look at each other's because they'll have the same access as you do as the teacher. So they can look at each other's, they can write on each other's slides, which could be good, could be bad, depending on what you're using it for. What I typically do is I put them in breakout rooms, and if they're breakout room number 3, they would go to slide number 3, and I have them record their names. Another problem is that sometimes one student will dominate and one will sit back and do nothing. So that's a challenge you have with any assignment that's group-based. I have lately been having kids initial the parts on the Jamboard that they did, so I'm at least aware of who's participating and who is not participating. Now, I've made 2 main types of Jamboards. One with a fixed background. Like this one, you see, this is all one background image. And kids can type on top of it or use the drawing tool and draw on top of it. And, they could label that as a compound. Okay. The other main way I have used Jamboards is you can also put in images that are draggable. So in this case, I was teaching about the periodic table and how it was developed. And we use this analogy of these little aliens, and that if you sort them, you can find ways to make lots of patterns and discover patterns you didn't even know were there. So by adding these as separate images, it's just different in how the teacher sets it up. And I'll make a video later that teaches you how to set these up differently. But now each student can come in and drag and rearrange these, and they can come up with something like this. Okay, so that they, arrange them by number of arms and whether they've got feet or not. And then in this case, I had them compare the pattern on their alien table to a similar pattern on the periodic table.